unfortunately, it's kind of a somber morning. Thankfully, David Ortiz is okay. But what were your thoughts as this story unfolded overnight and into these morning hours?
Well, I was just landing on the East Coast where Kevin Millar, who's obviously very good friends with David Ortiz, we're doing our show, Intentional Talk, up here on the East Coast this week. And, it's just we're all finding things out the way that everybody else is. And, I was texting Kevin to see if he found out anything else. And to me, the first time I could finally get a little bit of sense of relief was when Pedro tweeted out what he did, Pedro Martinez. And, Pedro is just like Papi down there in the Dominican. I mean, they are gods. And so he's obviously extremely well connected and was able to make whatever calls he needed to, because Pedro is going to be up here. I'm working with him tonight on MLB Tonight. And I can't imagine what those guys in particular are going through. All of us that have met Papi over the years and have had him on shows and have spent time with him just know how generous, fun-loving person he is. I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere to become the face of Boston sports. Tom Brady has done wonderful things up there in New England and has been on this unprecedented run. And via social media, we've gotten to see him a little bit more over the years. But Papi was so visible in Boston. And when the unfortunate and tragic bombing happened at the Boston Marathon, who became the voice of that city? I mean, it was David Ortiz who gave that famous speech that day. And it was that, even more so than his World Series heroics, that endeared him to a city that he wasn't originally from. And I'm just thankful. It sounds like he has, even though he's still in intensive care, has kind of gotten through the worst of this, and that's all we can hope and pray. Because we need Papi back around our game and just back around, period, because he lifts up a room. He's one of those guys, and when he walks into a room, changes the dynamic of it instantly.
Can you give us a sense of what it is about Papi's personality that makes him so beloved and so magnetic? As you said, around baseball, he is larger than life. I mean, in life, he's larger than life. But what is it about his personality that draws so many people to him and makes him so popular?
Well, if you could spend any time with him around Fenway, he treats everybody the same. He's one way with the owners and he's another way with the security guards. He treats everybody the same, which is the way we all should kind of roll through life. But unfortunately, we all know that stardom sometimes doesn't have that happen, right? We did a show a couple of years ago up at Fenway where Kevin Millar was introduced to a little guy named Maverick, who I believe has had 40 different heart surgeries. And his dream was to meet Big Papi, and Kevin was able to set that up. And Maverick got to spend an entire day with Papi. And the way he lit up when David walked into the room was unlike anything you've ever seen before. And if you have a chance, try and go find a piece somewhere. And bring a box of Kleenex, because it's as heartwarming a story as you'll see. And Papi brought him everywhere. Everywhere. He wanted him to experience the day. It wasn't just like, hey, let's hang out for 10 minutes and take pictures. It was the rest of the afternoon. It was during BP. He was introducing him to all of his buddies on the team. He came on Intentional Talk with him. He did the first pitch with him. It was just awesome to see. And I can just tell you, as a father, too, I was sitting there and I was like, this is pretty damn special. I can only imagine what his parents are going through right now.
Chris Rose joins us, host of Intentional Talk on MLB Network. Who do you think's in the right, Madison Bumgarner or Max Muncy?
Both. I am all about showing your emotion in baseball. I don't get the idea of we must protect the integrity of the game, so let's throw a baseball at somebody when they step out of their little box that they should stay in. If Max Muncy hits one 400 and gazillion feet and you want to stand there for a second and admire your work, go for it. If you have the personality of Madison Bumgarner and go yell at somebody to go run the bases and that's your personality, go for it. What I'm happy is that Mad Bum didn't throw the baseball at him the next time. You know, that's where, to me, it gets off center. And I have this continued discussion with the guys I work with because I don't get it, and I didn't play at the major league level, and some players will say, well, then you won't ever understand. Well, that's okay, but there's also still players like Tim Anderson. There's players like Trevor Bauer, who is a pitcher for the Cleveland Indians, who came out and said, hey, listen, it's hard to hit a major league home run. If you want to sit there and admire it for a while, go for it. It's my job to get you out next time. And, that was fun to me yesterday. I didn't see any problem with either side of it. It's not the way I would do business. I wouldn't probably sit there and hit a home run if I were fortunate enough to do it, and I probably wouldn't yell at anybody circling the bases if I was good enough to pitch in the major leagues. But that's okay. It's okay that people are different and have different opinions about that stuff. It's just that when we're then taking a baseball and firing it 95 miles an hour at somebody because of something they did, to me, that's always weird.
Chris Rose joins us. You watch him daily on Intentional Talk on MLB Network, but he's also part of another show called Battle Bots, and this is going to premiere Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and Pacific on Science Channel. Chris Rose, give us the thumbnail. What's Battle Bots?
Well, we brought it out of retirement about 4 years ago or so, and it was a show that used to be on Comedy Central, I think, better part of 2 decades ago. Essentially, it's two 250-pound robots fighting inside of this enormous thing called the Battle Box, which is a bulletproof glass cube. And these robots are passion projects of people. It sometimes can take 6 to 8 months to build these things, and they can be shredded in a matter of 20 seconds. You can disperse the 250 pounds any way you want. But some of these bots have weapons that weigh 70 pounds and spin at over 200 miles an hour. You don't have to be a physicist to understand that's some serious energy that's going to be dispersed.
Yeah.
So these bots can be destroyed and thrashed in seconds. A lot of them have fire and flame and the ability to flip their opponents. And it's just a ton of fun. It's the biggest field we've ever had in BattleBots history. There's almost 60 robots that'll be fighting. It's essentially like a 13-week regular season, then a selection committee picks you, and it's kind of like March Madness. So, yeah, like strength of schedule matters, and it's fun. It's crazy. If you haven't seen it, spin up some clips on YouTube, give it a look, and then watch the show Wednesdays on Science Channel and then Fridays on Discovery at 8 o'clock.
You know, when the ZRX 6002 doesn't play a quad one team, it's tough for that strength of schedule in the Battle Bots.
There's no question about it. See, you're all over it. You're all over it. You even get it.
Chris Rose joining us here on the show. Battle Bots coming up on a Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time and Pacific on the Science Channel. Watch Chris every day on Intentional Talk on MLB Network. Chris, thanks so much, buddy.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Be good. Chris Rose joining us this morning here on the show.